We are coming to you with breaking news. A special report, press conference beginning right now on a shooting in Clifton Park. 2 deputies shot. Let's go to Sheriff Michael Zerlo of Saratoga County.
People standing behind me. Standing to my left is Special Agent in Charge Frank Tarantino III, the DEA. To my left, Under Sheriff Jeff Brown from my agency, Chief Glenn Sheehy, Janine DiGiuseppe, Special Agent in Charge with the FBI, Assistant Special Agent David Zahn, the DEA, and the Honorable Karen Hagan, District Attorney for Saratoga County. I'll read from some prepared notes here, then we'll take a few questions at the end. Just understand this is a very active investigation at this point, so we may be limited to what we can answer to your question. This morning at 5:30 a.m., our Special Operations Team and Narcotics Unit assisted the DEA with the service of a federal arrest warrant for narcotics and weapons at 312 Foxwood Drive in the town of Clifton Park. After the Special Operations Team announced their purpose and authority and entered the residence, a person inside the home, later identified as Anthony Zarminski, age 23, began shooting at deputies. Mr. Zarminski, who was the subject of the investigation leading to this warrant, struck 2 deputies with gunfire, at which time deputies returned fire. Mr. Zarminski was pronounced dead at Albany Medical Center this morning at 9:15 a.m. 1 deputy suffered a serious gunshot wound to his thigh and will undergo surgery as we speak. The other deputy was struck to the chest with a round which was fortunately deflected by his body armor, resulting in a non-life-threatening injury. They were both transported to Albany Medical Center, and their prognosis is excellent. 1 of the 2 deputies has been released from the hospital. The quick thinking and instinct actions by members of the Special Operations Team in rendering first aid to the injured deputies, including applying 2 tourniquets to the deputy shot in the thigh, was nothing short of heroic. In addition, a DEA task force officer, who was also a medic, rendered first aid to Mr. Zarminski until he was transported to Albany Medical Center. This case highlights the dangerous encounters by law enforcement every day. Mr. Zarminski had a lengthy criminal history record that included attempted murder, criminal possession of a narcotic drug, criminal possession of a loaded firearm. Our men and women run towards danger to keep our citizens safe, and 2 of them nearly paid the ultimate sacrifice this morning. There are no words to sufficiently describe how grateful I am that this is only a press conference and not a eulogy. On behalf of the Saratoga County Sheriff's Office, I would like to extend my heartfelt, sincere thanks to the Albany Medical Center staff and their security department, the Albany Police Department, and all our law enforcement partners, especially Clifton Park Half Moon EMS, for their quick response and rendering first aid at the scene. All our dedicated medical first responders, and especially members of the public whose support, prayers, and well wishes have been nothing short of incredible. My office will continue to investigate this matter along with our partners at the DEA and the FBI. I'd like to call up Special Agent in Charge Frank Tarantino. He has a few words he'd like to say. Frank.
Thank you, Sheriff. Good afternoon. As part of an ongoing federal drug investigation, members of the DEA Capital District Task Force, as the Sheriff mentioned, executed 4 federal search warrants this morning in the Capital Region. This is a great example of the cooperation, collaboration, and communication that exists between our state, local, county, and federal partners to drive down drug-related violence and to keep our communities healthy and safe. DEA works collaboratively across the United States, but more specifically in the New York region and with the Saratoga County Sheriff's Office to hold those accountable who are causing the most harm in our communities. And that's exactly what this operation did today. And we stand united with the Saratoga County Sheriff's Office and all of our state, local, and federal partners as we continue this effort. Thank you.
Thank you, Frank. Take a couple of questions. We'll start left to right, so we're not all speaking at once. So we'll start on this side. Any questions over here?
Yeah, I was wondering, do you have EMS or anything on the alert, knowing that this was going to be, you know?
We have team members, and also EMS is placed on standby. Yes.
Okay. And now, does this now go to the AG for investigation because someone died?
They've been notified, and they will be a part of this investigation.
Okay, thank you.
Go ahead.
We found out that this apartment was leased to a woman with an 8-year-old. Do we know if there were any children at the time of the shooting?
There were no children inside the apartment.
And what was the scope? What was the biggest scope of the drug raid? Was it to go against the, the drug violence that's happening in the capital region?
Okay, I'll let.
Yeah, thanks, Sheriff. Yep. So this is, as I mentioned, an ongoing criminal investigation that dates back nearly 6 months. What I will tell you is that the seizures that resulted from today's operation, which include 3 of the search warrants in the Capital District region, resulted in hundreds of thousands of fentanyl pills and ecstasy pills seized, and multiple kilograms of cocaine, and nearly 50 rifles and handguns. This is a great example of the connection between drugs and violence. The amount of pills, fentanyl pills, that we seized today is equivalent to roughly 60,000 lethal doses removed from your city streets in this community.
Sheriff, can you comment on the number of rounds that were fired, what caliber weapons were used, and whether or not deputies or anyone else were wearing body cameras at the time?
I'm not going to get into the structure of the investigation. We're still in the early stages of that. It's very active at this point. Like I said, we'll work with our partners with the DEA. We will be the lead agency, and I'm not going to comment any further on that.
Sure. You mentioned this guy's lengthy criminal history. Can you share how this guy slipped through the cracks?
He's been arrested, released, so it's something that we always look at. Is it related to bail reform? I don't know. But we encountered a dangerous subject this morning when we entered that residence.
Sir, the officer-involved shootings are rare, pretty rare in the region here. Can you quantify it in some way in your time here, how often that has happened?
This is the first time, I think, in the history of the Saratoga County Sheriff's Office that we've had 2 members shot.
And Sheriff, can you comment on what counties the other warrants were executed in?
Some of them, Saratoga, Albany county areas.
Are you able to confirm whether or not they're connected or just executed all at the same time?
They were all connected. It was part of the investigation, so we executed 4 warrants as part of this investigation.
Thank you.
And the suspect was shot in the head, or?
I'm not going to comment on where he was shot.
And how is your officer that was injured?
One is literally going into surgery right now. The other was released.
So someone inside the apartment opened the door, and then the shots rang out and hit the deputies who were outside?
We announced and entered. We announced our authority and entered the apartment.
Oh, so they were inside at the time? Okay.
So it wasn't considered a no-knock warrant?
We announced our authority and entered the residence.
Sheriff, is there anything you can share about the deputies, how long they've been with the department?
One's been with us for 5 years, the other 2 years.
Are you going to release their names?
I am not.
Sheriff, can you give any indication for the deputy going into surgery whether or not, what doctors are expecting?
Just hoping for the best. He had a shattered femur, so like I said, I was down at the hospital with him most of the morning. He's in great care down there, and they're going to hopefully, repair the damage. He'll be in surgery, like I said, I think, as we're talking right now.
Any idea as to how long the surgery might take?
I have no idea.
Was the shooter the only one at that scene who was charged?
Nobody's been charged.
Nobody's been charged.
well, obviously the shooter can't be charged now, but he wasn't alone there, correct?
I'm not going to, they're going to get into that.
So you can't say anybody else is arrested? No one else is arrested? Or?
Correct.
Sheriff, we spoke with a resident who said that they've had a lot of concerns with that complex specifically. Is there any concerns that you share as well with the Fox Run complex?
I'm not aware of that. I mean, there's incidents throughout the county at different complexes, on a day-to-day basis. But just, by the partnership we did today, we knew what we had there. And like the special agent said, we took close to 60 fentanyl pills off the street today. That's a huge task, along with over 50 handguns and rifles. So we will continue to work with the DEA. This is a little bump in the road for this agency, but our partnership is strong with the DEA, and I can trust the residents of Saratoga County. We will continue to work with them and get the drugs off the street.
Was that the full tally from all of the locations?
So what I would say is that of the 100,000s of plus pills that we seized today, only 3 of the locations were searched. The 4th location is the location that the crime scene is currently unfolding. So we do not know what exactly is inside that residence at this time. So the numbers that we're giving you today are numbers that essentially involve the 3 locations that were searched previously.
And were there any issues or concerns during the operations at those other locations today?
No.
Sheriff, this is someone who was a repeat offender, possibly with drugs. How do you protect your deputies when they're going into situations like this with people who may be back out on the streets?
I give them the best equipment that I can give them, and that equipment that I provided my special ops team with today saved 2 lives.
Can you comment on the other individual that was released at the time?
I'm not going to comment.
Sure. We watched as 2 vehicles were taken away, escorted by a sheriff officer vehicle. Any reason as to why that happened? Any comment?
No, I'm not aware of that. I spent most of the morning at the hospital.
Sheriff, the community around you is obviously a bit scared and is concerned about what has happened. What do you have to say to them?
I can tell them that we will continue to protect them, not only in Foxwood, but every development in Saratoga County. Our deputies work tirelessly day in and day out to make sure that the residents of this county are protected. And the partners that I have here with me also support that. So we will make sure that they have nothing to worry about.
You've been watching a news conference live from Milton today. The Saratoga County Sheriff joined by the DEA talking about an officer-involved shooting this morning in Clifton Park. 2 deputies shot. The suspect shot and killed.
Here's what we know about the suspect now. His name is Anthony Zaremski, 23 years old. Sheriff Zerlo saying he was pronounced dead at 9:15 this morning at Albany Medical Center. And this was an investigation with the DEA, the Drug Enforcement Agency, along with deputies from the Saratoga County Sheriff's Office executing a federal search warrant. Looking as part of a months-long investigation, this was one of 3 locations that they were raiding.
This is a common practice among law enforcement to have local law enforcement or county law enforcement help the feds. This was a 6-month investigation, and this was the Saratoga County Sheriff's Office's Special Operations Team. There were 2 deputies injured, 1 fairly seriously. In fact, he's in surgery now. The sheriff saying that his thigh was shattered. So it was a gunshot wound to his thigh. The other was lucky enough that the bullet that he was hit with bounced off his vest, and he is okay and has been released. The sheriff not identifying either of the deputies yet. We have been given the names. We are working to confirm those names and make sure all of the family have been notified before we share those.
The sheriff praising the Drug Enforcement Agency teams on the scene, applying first aid and 2 tourniquets to that 1 deputy who was injured in the thigh, saying that that may have helped in many ways saving that deputy, and also saying, quote, grateful that this is a press conference, not a eulogy here today.
First time 2 deputies have been shot in the history of the Saratoga County Sheriff's Office. We'll have much more on this. We have team coverage coming up live at 4.
We'll see you then.